This week, Marcus Muchek of the Dirty Gym joins me to show why a traditional deadlift you may see in powerlifting will not benefit your snatch or your clean. I have 3 key points: movement focus, key positions, and then a deadlift for the snatch and clean that will keep you in good positions. Let's get into it. First, let's start off with a quote from Marcus.
If I try to get a big deadlift thinking it'll help my clean, and I used to think that way when I trained at Westside Barbell, I thought, yeah, great, if I deadlift 660, I'll definitely clean 400. Didn't happen, not even close.
When you look at the deadlift you've been using to build strength, the question I might ask you is, do you understand the focus of the movement that you're performing? I am going to separate deadlifts into 2 categories just for simplicity in this video. One, we're going to have more of a Olympic focused deadlift where it puts us in the positions of, say, a snatch or a clean and helps us strengthen that technical movement. And then the second type of deadlift I'm going to talk about is one more you'd see in powerlifting where the goal is to get the most weight from the floor to the hip. It's very important to understand the difference between the two, because when we use the wrong deadlift for the wrong goal, it will slow down our progress. So to better understand whether the movement that we're using is supporting our goals, we need to understand the key positions that we're trying to hit. So let's focus on the Olympic lifts. Let's look at the snatch and at the clean. Let's talk about 3 positions. 1 is the start, 2 is above the knee, and 3 is the power position. So at the start, we're going to be in a position that absolutely mimics the snatch or the clean. We'll have our snatch or clean grip. We'll be sat to the bar, allowing our shins to come forward towards the bar. Our weight's going to be on a full flat foot, but priority is going to be towards the middle of the foot, and we're going to have the slack taken out of the bar and tension in our quads. We'll have a flat back in this position so we can push off the floor just like we would in a snatch or a clean. When we look above the knee, at the above the knee position, we're going to have close to a vertical shin. We're going to be over the bar. Our lats are going to be tight, keeping the bar with us. And then at that point, when our torso opens up, when we hinge at that hip, we allow ourselves to come up to the power position where our legs are still unlocked at the knee and at the hip. And in this position is where we would drive or fire onto the weight to unweight it to go under. We would never take the weight to a straight leg because we would never be there in a snatch or a clean. I'm now going to have Marcus walk us through a deadlift used in powerlifting.
With a deadlift, it's primarily back, hamstrings, glutes, maybe not that order, but almost always in that order. To where I'm trying to break this weight from the floor and then take my hip under it by projecting my hip horizontally while my traps and lats lever the bar back into me. Then the other thing too that is so important is to understand that I'm trying to do less work and move more weight. So I want a higher hip position, which you'll see from the video, higher hip position in the sumo and traditional or conventional deadlift than I would ever want in the clean pull or snatch pull. So typically you'll see guys with a traditional or conventional deadlift, they'll walk up to the bar, their stance will be their normal walking gait. For the deadlift, you want your grip, you want your hand to be directly below the deltoid, right under it. You want your arm to hang in a straight line as possible. You want your traps to sag. You want to let your shoulders sit as low as possible in the socket. Oftentimes guys will experience deltoid or pec cramps when they pull heavy because they're rounding their upper back in order to shorten the range of motion. The grip that you'll typically see is a mixed grip, meaning one supinated, one pronated. With the deadlift, I'm actually locking down. I'm flexing my pecs, I'm flexing my triceps, I'm trying to make my arms as long as possible by rounding my upper back. I'm bracing my abdominals to the point where my lower back may be flexed or rounded. With the deadlift, if my knee were to extend backwards and then flex forward, the bar will rest on my thighs and I will receive red lights for what's considered ramping or hitching. The finished position in your deadlift is going to depend mostly on your mechanics. And what that means is pretty much the length of your arm compared to the length of your leg and the length of your torso. In the deadlift, I'm trying to finish that pull as soon as possible. When I'm deadlifting, I'm lifting the bar up to my hip. I'm standing up. That's it. I want to stand up with as much weight as possible within the rules. And that's it. That's literally it.
So when we look at the end goal of a Olympic-focused deadlift or a powerlifting-focused deadlift, with the Olympic-focused deadlift, we're strengthening the technical motor pattern for the snatch and the clean. For a powerlifting deadlift, we're lifting the most weight we can from the floor to our hip. And the important takeaway is that the best positions used to lift the most weight from the floor to the hip are not the best positions to take weight from the floor to overhead in the snatch or to the rack position in the clean. Now let's wrap up with some highlights around how to execute a really good technical snatch or clean deadlift in your training. All right, guys, let's break down technically a really nice deadlift movement for the Olympic lifts. We're going to be looking at the clean position here, and this is Jeff, and if we look at Jeff's position right now, he's in a very good start position for the clean. We're looking at his elbow and knee. His knee is through the arm, at least flush with the front of the arm, or a little past it, while maintaining a good foot pressure. So to let his knee come through, Jeff's not sitting all the way down. He's over that bar, and in this position, his quads would start to get tired very quickly. As Jeff comes off the floor, you'll see he pushes his legs into the ground. Legs push, legs push, legs push, legs push, as his hip and shoulder rise together. So if we reverse that again, his hip and shoulder should rise as his legs push, right? Push, 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 push. Hip and shoulders rise together. He hits that above the knee position. And at this point, Jeff's still over the bar, and now he wants to hinge on that hip, opening up to bring himself and the bar together. You'll notice that his knees are still unlocked, his hip is still unlocked, and at this point he could drive his legs into the floor, bar could come up, and he could change direction to go underneath. These are the key positions that we must go through when we're trying to strengthen these positions. Now this is Jeff coming back down to the floor, and you can see how he's completely reversed the movement. He didn't just drop it from the hip, he came down through those positions, and these are the key positions that we need to hit. I can't stress it more, guys. Get into a good start position, push with your legs so hip and shoulder rise together and you reach above the knee, and from there torso opens up so we're still unlocked at the knee, at the hip, and we can drive. Good luck to you. If you found this video helpful, don't forget about our free programming. You can sign up with a link right below here. We go through and explain why we program what we program and show you many different tools to fix issues.